fans, I think, can sense it right now.
To go, inbound to Weatherspoon with one. Weatherspoon puts up the three. It's no good!
The Liberty Flames are still dancing.
Fan the Flame to the biggest victory in school history.
Georgia to inbound, gets to the AC. Deep three, pull up. He banked it in! He banked it in!
Shot at the buzzer.
Good! It's good! It's good! It's Woodward!
Larry Blair reverse layup up and in, and he's fouled. Man, you talk about degree of difficulty.
With two, Georgie at the buzzer. Got it! He got it!
Darius McGee, a game for the ages.
And Liberty wins 4 games in the Big South Tournament to take home the 2013 crown. Look at Bio Baxter now.
25 for Colin Porter.
Holmesley, splash.
Shiloh Robinson with an effort play.
And Liberty keeps on coming.
A huge basket by Kyle Rowe.
Got it! Pacheco with the 3. Liberty, put your dancing shoes on.
Well, hey, what's going on? Nick Kirby, Will Matthews, the doctor in the house. Welcome to the A Sea of Red basketball podcast. We weren't sure if we were going to do a show this week or not. I'm putting a floor down. So busy week here at the old Castle Kirby. But you know what? After that win last night, I think it was like 6 seconds after the game ended, I texted Will and I was like, yeah, we got to do a pod tomorrow.
Hey, we're just here to talk about what America is talking about this week. The red wave, the blue wall. We're talking about Liberty basketball. America's talking about Liberty basketball after 2 solid wins, man.
Yeah, what a game last night. So plenty to talk about. I'm fired up for sure. I see you are already partaking in our proud sponsor here at the Sea of Red podcast, some Ironclad coffee. Will, what flavor are we rocking this evening?
Little bare knuckle right here. Little bare knuckle espresso.
Okay.
Still good after all these years.
You know, kind of feels like Caden Matheny last night. A little bare knuckle time. You know, he clearly had his cup on Saturday morning.
Yeah, he had a little something extra. I tweeted out that we are all meth heads. So, you know, I don't know that like a student group should come to the games with teeth blacked out and looking all distraught or anything like that. But it is just kind of fun to say. And he was playing out of his mind at the end of the game last night.
Yeah, you do that. There might be another Hulu documentary made. All right, let's move on.
Boom, there it is.
As always, shout out to Ironclad Coffee. They do an incredible job supporting a Sea of Red and all things Liberty Athletics. Online orders, right? Well, I know that's where you get yours.
That's right.
Ironcladcoffee.com. If you're in the Richmond area, be sure to check them out for sure. All right, well, let's talk about the old 2-0 Liberty Flames. We'll just kind of start off with the first game, Valparaiso. I was in the building. Now, I was watching this on like a tiny little screen in the back, looking over someone's shoulder running the graphics. So you guys probably got a better view of the game than me. But I did get to say hi to Coach McKay. Coach actually came back and said goodbye to me before he left. Just an incredible guy. I got to meet Mrs. McKay, so that was pretty cool.
Okay.
Lovely as well. But yeah, wow, just a dominating performance. I don't think Valparaiso is very good, if I'm being honest. They were also missing their second best. Some circles around the Valparaiso conversation said it might be their best player in Isaiah Stafford. But for the first game with so many new pieces, Will, I mean, you couldn't have played much better than that.
Yeah, I mean, Valpo picked to finish 10th in Mountain Valley, which is a decent conference, right? Missouri Valley, sorry, which is a decent conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not a very good team. But first game of the year, you don't really know what to expect, right? So kind of went into it thinking maybe a toss-up. I know Valpo lost all but like 3 games last year, so. But Aquino, man, star of the show. La Bestia Española, the Spanish beast. That's what I'm going to start calling him. Man, he showed out. It was fun to watch him play.
The MVP of the athletes in action tip off for that game. We'll talk a little bit more about is it Aquino or Aquino? Because
there's no tilde, so it's Aquino.
Aquino?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah,
you're saying no, because the broadcast I've been hearing something different.
They were saying Aquino, like the tilde, like Ronald Acuna, but he doesn't have that, so it's Aquino.
It's Aquino, like my guy, like Aristides.
There you go. That's right.
Okay, because if I had to do it a different way than Aristides, I was gonna be. It would take me into conference play before I would get that right. So, all right.
Well, they were struggling with a few names, and I texted you and I said, Nick, get them right on the pronunciations here because it'll just be a long night for watching that.
I did get the Metheny corrected quickly. So but there was a lot of names. That guy did a great job. Luke, he had to call 4 different games. I think he came from a Miami soccer game right before. I think he called 3 games in one day. This dude's like a trooper.
Yeah. Give him some grace.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a different environment, really awesome facility. This Athletes in Action. They just opened like the field house where the games were in July. So it was a lot different, like of a place to play a game, which kind of made me think, I could see a sluggish start, which we kind of did see that, and then they just even dominated. We'll get through several of the players here in a minute. But let's talk about that Seattle win on Saturday night. Seattle was missing one of their starters, but they still had some really talented players. Liberty snuck out a win. I mean, one of the more impressive 8-0 runs to end the game.
Yeah.
I think that win really has a chance when you get to the end of the year, and we're talking about Liberty's resume and are they a 12 or a 13 seed. This is the kind of game that can bump you from a 13 to a 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win that feels really good right now. But later on down the road, it could look a lot better. I just wasn't sure, coming down to the end of that game, that turning point for me was Colin Porter's turnover under the basket at the baseline. They were up by 6 and, everybody's back down the court and he gets it right back, puts it up. That cut the lead 4. I thought that was a devastating turnover at the time until he, stole it right back and put it in. Just very proud of, the grit. That was the Valpo broadcast was a lot better than that one. That one felt like an ASON broadcast at times. I just wasn't sure there at the end, and it felt like a game that we would have had last year that would have gotten away from us.
That was my exact takeaway. How many of those games last year did Liberty just, find a way to lose? And this one was the ultimate. You just found a way to somehow win. And Caden Matheny, I mean, man, this guy can come up with some big shots. I mean, we saw it last year. Who do you have the big shot at home against? I can't. It was a big shot. It was in the final 2 or 3 seconds of the game. Oh, it was Louisiana Tech, wasn't it? I don't know. They run together.
Yeah,
but he's had some massive shots, and it feels like with all these new pieces, it kind of feels like Matheny's like more comfortable. Just kind of, I can sit back and I'll lull you to sleep. And then if you take your eyes off me, you're screwed. Because last year teams were just hounding him the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of my takeaways. That like it was almost like in the last 2 or 3 minutes they forgot about him.
Yeah.
And McKay said in the post-game presser that he thought his team did a good job of not chasing the 3 ball, and that's going to be the big difference between this year and last year. Last year they had to chase the 3 ball because that inside presence, the size and athleticism just was not there at times. So they had to chase that 3 ball. But now it's kind of opening things up where, you see Matheny get some really good looks. And it was like they forgot about him because they were kind of focused on the inside there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Liberty only shot 8 for 22. I think they made their last 2 or 3. So, I mean, at one point they were like 6 for 20. So, not a banner 3-point shooting night. Neither did Seattle. They didn't shoot lights out either. I bet they'll have some better 3-point shooting games too. But yeah, I mean, it's nice when the 3 ball's not falling. You still have options. It doesn't feel like the 3 ball is still king. Like, let's not go too far.
Oh yeah,
you have to hit threes.
That's baked into this team.
It's nice that you can have a chance without hitting a bunch of threes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the 3-point shot is going to be baked into. I feel like any Ritchie McKay team in the past and in the future. So, but yeah, like Seattle, very good team. Their whole backcourt from last year is in the G League this year, and they brought in some big time transfers to kind of run that now. And so Liberty just found a way at the end of the day, and through a lot of turnovers, through a lot of missed free throws, kind of the same story as last year, except for this year they found a way to pull it off.
Yeah, Christophilus and Moncrief for Seattle made some big plays down the stretch, and just nice that Liberty was able to punch back. All right, let's talk about some individual players. Let's talk a little bit more about Owen Aquino, who, believe it or not, so he played off the charts against Valpo. Everyone could see how great he was. Against Seattle, he kind of struggled a little bit at times. He was 0 for 2 from 3. Didn't feel like he had the same amount of his fingerprints on the game. When I pull up the Kid Bob box score, guess who the MVP of the game is? It's Owen Aquino. I mean, he could just beat you in so many ways. So he ended up with 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He had 4 steals. 4 steals in the game against Seattle. He's just such a weapon and such a different player that we haven't seen ever in a Liberty uniform.
Yeah, sneaky good the other night. He did have some foul trouble, but kind of like you, like I was looking up, the box score after the game, and I was like, wow, I mean, he did a lot better than what I initially thought he did as far as statistics go. And then Valpo, 5 blocks against Valpo. That has not happened since 2016 with John Dawson, believe it or not. Which is a name I have not thought about in quite a while. And was kind of shocked to see that he had 5 blocks in a game. And that was probably against like Central Penn or something like that. But
so with a 5'4" guard.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't say enough good things about Aquino. I mean, I'm sure he's going to have some growing pains, kind of working his way in the system. But I mean, the first 2 games really just could not have gone any better.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Kirby. Do you think that because it is so early in the season, I'm sure, Seattle in their scouting they looked at the Valpo game, but how much do you think they're looking at last season, which did not have Aquino? How much do you think that plays into it? Because later on down the year, teams are going to be much more aware of Aquino.
I don't know as much about Seattle because I'm sure they watched the film on that Valpo game and saw Aquino all over the place. Your point is valid, though, because the next guy I wanted to talk about, I think, is that sneak up on the scouting report guy, and that's Javion Malmer. If it wasn't for Aquino, this guy would really be the talk of Liberty right now. I mean, he played very well against Valpo, incredibly efficient in that game. Put up 14 points on 6 shots. And then in the first half against Seattle, Liberty's offense was non-existent. They couldn't get anything except for Malmer. He had, I think, 10 points at halftime. He was literally the entire offense. He's just such a nice weapon. He can create his own shot. He's a very high IQ player, and I think he's very efficient. Now, I think he might be the one guy that as the season goes on and teams do pick up a little bit more on the scouting report, does maybe fall back down to earth a little bit, just, kind of given where he's come from and all that. But, man, he's jumped right in. And like I said, if it wasn't for Aquino, this guy would be the talk of Liberty basketball right now.
Yeah, I wrote down like a good neighbor, Javion Malmer is there. That the Valpo game, his fingerprints were all over it. Seattle, the first half particularly, when Liberty needed a bucket to keep up the pace, he was just there at the right spot at the right time. Is he the one that John said that reminded him of Anthony Smith a little bit?
Yep.
So yeah, I can definitely see that, like just the way he plays, his length, his shot. Very excited about his future.
Yeah, very good start. Excited to kind of see what he could do, because he's going to take a pretty big leap in competition, as we'll talk about at the end of the show, this next weekend, and we'll kind of see how he handles that. I mean, we can talk about everyone. There's several other players I do want to talk about. The one player I want to talk about, though, next is Zach Cleveland. I was kind of interested to see how Cleveland was going to fit in. I mean, he's, first team all conference. A guy like Caden Matheny, you could put other pieces around him and he's going to still score. Like, right? It doesn't really impact him. Cleveland has just been interesting. And man, I feel like Cleveland kind of being able to pick his spots a little bit better. He's been very efficient. Still would like to see the free throws improve a little bit with him, because he does an incredible job getting to the line. But just, man, when you have Cleveland and Aquino on the floor at the same time, just their ability to pass as bigs and take the ball at the court. There was a play against Seattle where I think Cleveland got the rebound, passed it to Aquino, and Aquino takes down the floor. Like, your big guys can really create some great fast break opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of what I was asking about earlier with, how much are they looking at last year's team compared to this team? Because, last year it seemed like at the end of the season, particularly Cleveland was maybe kind of taking it on himself to kind of carry the team, step up and be that guy. And, maybe he doesn't have to do that right now. And so, yeah, you're right. He is interesting. I mean, he's played two good games. And it's kind of interesting to see, as everybody got some playing time against Valpo. You saw some of those minutes expand a little bit more to what seems to be the regular guys in Seattle. So he's still there. It's going to be interesting to kind of see how they use him and mix and match with some of those other big guys.
Yeah. And another guy that's kind of gotten thrown into this big man is Isaiah Innan, who's fascinating. I didn't realize he hasn't hit a 3 yet. He's 0 for 3, but his 3-point shot looks good. You see why he has a green light. The Liberty must have some real confidence in his ability to stretch the floor. He's just another weapon. He started game 1, didn't start game 2 against Seattle. I'm sure McKay just thought Maumert was a better option against Seattle, a team where they maybe couldn't bully as much size wise as they were able to do with Valpo. And obviously Maumert played really, really well against Valpo too as well. But he's an interesting piece. I think he's going to have some I think he'll have some big moments this year. I'm just interested to see how they're going to fit him in, whether it be, with the other two bigs, or if he's going to slide into more of your backup big man.
Yeah. I don't know. Valpo, 4 points off of 5 shots in 12 minutes. Seattle, 12 minutes, 4 points. He looks like a guy that McKay might use to, like you were saying, depending on matchups. He had some really good looks from 3. They didn't fall. But it's interesting to just kind of see the dynamic of where he's going to fit in, as well as, the rotation gets a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
I think
go ahead.
Yeah, I just think Innan right now, like, if he's going to stay on the bench, he's probably the first one off the bench. I mean, it seems like a good option there. Taylor Peter, I was impressed by him. Like, I mean, he's not a guy that's just sitting around the perimeter, like, setting picks or, looking to pass the ball. Like, that guy's going to the hoop. A little bit of Van Zant, a little bit to me, kind of put me in the mind of,
Yeah, he's crazy athletic for a guy at 6'4". I watched some of his highlight tapes before, and I was like, oh, wow, this guy can really get up. He's had an interesting career. Started at Division I at Tennessee Tech, then went down somewhere sub D1, and is now back at the D1 level with Liberty. And, yeah, it's nice because, it's felt like a lot of times McKay's bench has kind of been guys that come in and they're system guys, and there's not really guys that come out and try to get their own shot. And with Peter, it's definitely not that. This guy's got quite a bit of talent. It'll be interesting to see. He got 19 minutes against Valpo, only got 13 against Seattle. Has not turned the ball over yet, and he's had the ball in his hands a decent amount, so that's really cool to see. Made three 3-pointers against Valpo, really kind of showing his range. Really special talent.
Yeah, I think he's what year is he now?
He's a senior, but I don't know if he has the COVID senior
extra year. Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's only been 2 games since we've seen him, but he's a kind of a guy like just judging off those first 2 games. Like I'd like to see him stick around a little bit because he seems like a guy that like could develop under McKay's system. I'm
gonna make a prediction. I bet against whoever we're playing on Tuesday. Carolina. I
playing against Carolina.
I bet. Yeah, we're gonna beat up on Carolina. I bet Peter has a massive game on Tuesday.
Yeah, we've got to suffer through that game a little bit, as we do every year, kind of suffer through some of these games. But like I've come to appreciate these games because you're kind of get to see some guys get more minutes than they usually get.
Well, and there's just so many exciting players on the bench that are going to get a lot of minutes. Caillou has played in both games. I didn't really expect that. Brett Decker's played in both games. Xander Yates has played in both games. Somebody has to kind of see those guys and see Peter get some get some more minutes as well. So yeah, it's a lot easier to stomach one of these games when it's in the middle of Valpo, Seattle, then FAU, Charleston, and then a real legit Division I tournament. One of these games in the middle of that, it's not as bad, right? It's when it's like one of these games, Division I game, another one of these games. Maybe we'll feel a little different about December 17th after we go through a stretch of Central Penn, Mississippi Valley State, North Carolina A&T, and then St. Andrews Presbyterian, I think. But Tuesday will be fine. I'll enjoy it.
I'm not sure if that's a church or an actual university, but
something.
Yeah. We've, I don't know. I think maybe my personal opinion that maybe this is just some scheduling philosophy and not so much that we can't get games. I know that's not the narrative, but that's just my own feeling about it, but I'm looking forward to it anyway. So somebody commented calling it Liberty 105, Carolina 29. So that's a good possibility.
I believe it. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is budget. I think you could get whoever you wanted to come play at Liberty Arena if you paid them enough. So
there you go. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. All right. So I don't know. Is there any other players that have kind of stood out to you here from the first 2 games? I know we kind of covered quite a wide array.
Well, Decker, I mean, he was kind of one of the guys we talked a little bit about in our preview show that might get some minutes as a true freshman. He's played a little bit here and there. He had a really nice looking 3 against Valpo, and I was like, okay, let's see what this guy's got. And then we didn't really see much more of him after that. So, but Porter, Porter's just Porter. He's kind of the glue of this team, I feel like, in a lot of ways. So, he's going to have his little bit share of turnovers sometimes, it feels like, but he's going to make some incredible passes and find some guys to get their shots.
Yeah, 5 assists against Seattle. With Porter, I think right now I certainly don't have any qualms at all, but I think there's going to be times later in the year where I do think he's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive offensively. Just because I think teams are just going to be expecting the pass so much, and teams are expecting the pass and know it's coming. That's when you really can have some, not just turnovers, but ugly turnovers that are easy fast breaks, for the other team. So, I mean, he played great. 10 points was 3 for 3 from 2 points, 1 for 2 from 3, 5 assists, only 2 turnovers. Had a steal against Seattle. So, yeah, I thought Porter played a pretty nice game. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to have a quick word from Jason Porter, Real Estate. And then when we come back, we'll talk about kind of what's coming up next year for Liberty with the pretty big games next weekend and a little bit more. So hang tight.
Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full-time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. And I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
All right, so obviously a great start to the season for Liberty 2-0, but Will, I was looking through the box scores of Conference USA from Saturday. It was a healthy day for Conference USA basketball-wise. I'll run through some of this. La Tech, they won at UT Arlington by 15 points. It's a top 200 team on the road, winning by 15. Sam Houston beat Tarleton State. I think Tarleton's down a little bit this year, but they beat them by 29 points on the road. Middle Tennessee beat Abilene Christian, good program, by 23 on the road. Western Kentucky lost on a buzzer beater to Grand Canyon. If you don't know, Grand Canyon legitimately might be a top 25 team this year. Crazy talented team. New Mexico State, they won by double digits at Utah Tech. So all these games were on the road getting wins. Obviously, Liberty won on the road as well. FIU and Kennesaw State, they lost, but they covered both of their games on the road. Fortunately, the only ones that didn't play well was UTEP. They lost by 29 points at Utah Valley. As I tweeted it out, shout out to the UTEP fans in my my mentions who were very upset that I said they shouldn't be tied with Liberty in the preseason poll. So I don't know, Will. This is looks like a really good conference this year. Ken Palm right now has Conference USA 10th. It's obviously very, very early in the season, but last year was 15th, so that's quite a range. And then La Tech was one spot behind Liberty in Ken Palm. They were 107 entering the year, Liberty 106. La Tech up to 91. They've only had one game that counted because their other game was against some non-D1 school, but that one blowout win obviously really jumped them up in the rankings. Liberty's up 11 points. Sam Houston on the borderline of a top 100. They're 103. Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, New Mexico State, all top 150. I mean, Liberty might be significantly better this year. Well, I'm very confident Liberty's going to be significantly better this year, Will, and it's still going to be a really difficult conference.
Yeah, this game against Seattle was a part of the CUSA WAC challenge or whatever it is, where they kind of match up, which is a really good thing, I think. It gives both mid-major programs that are playing each other a game on the schedule. I almost wish they would do like a more of like 2 games with each other, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, Sam Houston on the verge of a top 100 team. They were a team last year that kind of came out, we thought they were good, but came a little bit out of nowhere to be a little bit better than what we expected. So, and the WAC is not what it used to be. Grand Canyon will not be in the WAC next year. So, I don't know if this is something that is like a contract and they keep going with it next year or not, but, perhaps we'll see some of these teams next year that the CSA has beat up on this year.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a fun conference. I really think I think, I don't know about New Mexico State, but the other top 5 there, Liberty, La Tech, Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, I think those are, 5 really good teams that I wouldn't be shocked if there's maybe a little bit more separation than we saw last year. But obviously, time will certainly tell. Well, coming up, Will, for Liberty, a big set of games. Obviously, they have the Tuesday game at Liberty Arena. Go support the guys. It really should just be kind of maybe they should just market it as a welcome home party from 2 hard-fought wins and celebrate the 2 wins, and that's pretty much the extent of the night. But after that, Florida Atlantic and Charleston, I did get to see watching it through the screen, as I mentioned, Florida Atlantic. Indiana State, I don't think they're very good either. That team is probably worse than Valpo, kind of based off my research for covering that event. But that Florida Atlantic team, Will, I thought they lost everyone, and it didn't look like they lost anything. They look incredible. That's going to be a big challenge. I'm really glad it's on a neutral floor, and that one's not at FAU like last year, where Liberty kind of, that game really got away from them. But Charleston on the road, Chris Mack, former Xavier coach, they're off to a good start. They won both of their games by double digits. They beat Southern Illinois by 10. The top 160 team beat South Florida. Obviously, South Florida dealing with a lot right now, but they won by 15 against a South Florida team that I believe was in the NCAA tournament last year. So big test this weekend. Honestly, Will, I think if Liberty can find a way to split, I think that would be a good thing. Is kind of what you're probably shooting for here.
Yeah, while we're playing Carolina University, FAU is playing UCF. That should be a pretty good game. That is at UCF, so a good test for FAU. Kind of look at what we got to deal with there. Charleston has this guy. I'm going to butcher his name, but Ante Brozovic, unanimous preseason CAA Player of the Year, 6'10", 225. I don't know if he plays football, but maybe Jamie Chadwell could recruit him a little bit to play somewhere that maybe the Flames need. But, short of Caillou, who I don't think is going to be covering that guy, who would you put on that big guy? Would you put Aquino on him or Cleveland, or what would you do there, Kirby?
Probably Cleveland. I mean, I think Cleveland's probably the more experienced guy, but he's not the only big guy for Charleston. No,
they got another guy.
Well, they got Lazar Djokovic, transfer from Xavier. And I know that Djokovic was a big-time recruit coming into Xavier, guy that was in the starting lineup for them last year when the season started, just didn't pan out, but had the talent to be there. So, yeah, Charleston, we're going to see how Liberty's new size matches up pretty quickly against Charleston on Saturday. But I don't know if you saw the best news of this whole thing, Will. The games are not on Flow anymore. They got moved to YouTube.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that on the schedule, and I was looking at it, and I was like, "What is the deal with the YouTube games?" But I thought I might ask you, how that works out.
Well, I mean, it's this one is Field of 68, so they're obviously just trying to promote their YouTube channels and their podcasts and all that, and their network of college basketball media. The Athletes in Action was the same thing; it was just promoting athletes in action, just kind of. And it's it's a way for hopefully anything to get us away from paying $30 a month for a crappy broadcast, and people can just fire it up on YouTube, the better. But yeah, I mean, this will be a really big challenge this weekend. I'm glad you pointed that out about Florida Atlantic this week. Charleston has a whole week to prepare for these two games. And Charleston also, the home team, I think, kind of gets the advantage in this. They play on Friday and they get a day off. They play Florida Atlantic on Friday. They get a day off as Liberty has to play back-to-back days this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, though. But I'm with you. I think, I don't go into either one of those games expecting a sweep by any means, unless it is that we get swept. But I think we should be happy with the split on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Liberty right now is underdogs in both games. I mean, they're coin toss. Liberty's a 1-point underdog against Florida Atlantic, 2-point underdog against Charleston. My guess is predicting Vegas, which I like to do. Liberty probably is a little bit further of an underdog. Liberty was actually favored by a point against Seattle, but Vegas had it as a pick 'em. I'm guessing Liberty's probably a 3-point dog against Florida Atlantic by Vegas, and maybe 3.5, 4 even against Charleston, just because it is in their building. But we'll also, it's also kind of fun. We'll get to see. I guess we'll get to see a little bit about Florida Atlantic with their big test against UCF, and then Friday night Charleston and Florida Atlantic play each other. So that'll also kind of give us a really good idea of what to expect the next 2 days. We'll get to kind of see them firsthand. But really, just man, it's so exciting that they got this event. This is one of those next year, Will, where I got to find a way to get down to Lynchburg when Liberty hosts this, because what a 3 days of basketball that's going to be.
Yeah, maybe we need to schedule a little road trip to Lynchburg for some of these games at Liberty Arena, and hang out with John and Chad a little bit, and maybe get Richie Longshots down there too to kind of help us navigate the betting odds for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be an awesome weekend. I think Florida Atlantic, their new head coach, it looks like that program is not going to. He's a man's man. Will, FAU's coach. I can't remember. I think he came from Texas. Jon Jacobs. He's got the nice little shaved head with the beard. Just a guy you don't want to mess with. And then I'm a big fan of Chris Mack at Charleston. So I think next year you're probably going to have another. I'll say this now: all three programs I like the trajectory on. I would be shocked if maybe there's two teams in that game next weekend in that series that are ranked, or at least in like the others receiving votes. And I think it might really be propped up even more as one of the premier like mid-major events of the college basketball season.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Jon Jacobs now. He looks like he probably does some CrossFit, and it looks like he spent time at Gonzaga and Baylor. So
Baylor.
Obviously, taking over a really good team, and it looks like he's probably going to just keep them rolling because he's got everything he needs there. Yeah.
All right. Well, Will, any final parting thoughts?
No, I'm glad you texted and wanted to do the show. It was fun to watch the Valpo game, his first game of the year. Valpo came on my radar when I was probably in middle school, and staying home sick to watch the NCAA tournament and Bryce Drew hitting that shot that is played for every, one shining moment video. So, at that point, I don't think I'd ever heard of Liberty University. So it was cool to watch them play that game. Seattle, I didn't really know much about Seattle except for just looking at them and saying, man, that's a really good team, actually. So hopefully that they kind of turn things around there very quickly, and that looks a lot better later on down the year.
Yeah, Seattle still got Duke on the schedule, so Seattle find a way to upset that. That'll make our non-con really look good.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Homer Drew was in attendance. The Valpo coach when Bryce hit the shot.
Yeah,
had his Valpo gear on. He was a big part of the event. I know that King McClure, who didn't call the Liberty game, called the second game, Florida Atlantic. Went to Baylor and had that connection with Jacobs. So yeah, there was a Clark Kellogg was there. Clark Kellogg came on for the second game, I believe. I don't know, it all ran together, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of, really big names at that event. So yeah, very cool stuff. Hopefully that's something, especially as a guy who lives in Ohio, hopefully that's something Liberty does every year going forward. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll try to come back sometime after these games next weekend before we get ready for the Paradise Jam. Is it Paradise Jam?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever tournament they're playing.
Virgin Islands. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll try to come after the Field of 68 weekend, and then before the Paradise Jam, and kind of see where we're at. Hopefully we're really flying high, and Liberty's 4-0 and getting top 25 votes this time next week.
Yeah, hopefully so. That would be something incredible. I don't have my fingers, I don't have my hopes up too much for that, but fingers crossed for it. And I know you're still probably pretty upset that we were picked 5th in the conference preseason, but Kirby's out here hoping Liberty can prove the haters wrong.
Prove them wrong. But seriously, if Liberty did sweep this next weekend, I mean, again, I as I said earlier, I think I'd be happy with a split. But if they did sweep, I mean, the momentum, I think nationally, from the Rothsteins, from the Goodmans. Well, this is a Field of 68, so they're going to be propping up whoever plays well in this. I mean, the momentum that you could really have with your program if Liberty plays well next weekend really could go a long way. But we'll see. Again, split, I'd be very happy with.
Yeah, same here.
All right. Well, I hope everyone has a fantastic week. We'll talk again soon. As always, thanks to Jason Porter Real Estate. Thanks to Ironclad Coffee. Thanks to Jon Manson and all the incredible work that man grinds for Sea of Red. We'll see you again soon. Go Flames.